Yes guys, welcome from me, this is Championship Manager 0102. We've got the very latest Nix patcher. He's actually released two. The first one he released was version 228 and he updated it with a couple of other tweaks. This, I would imagine, will be the last one he makes at 2.29. I can't see him making another one in terms of patcher. He may release some additional offsprings for it, some patch files that you can apply manually. More about that afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to start from the beginning here as to what your steps are. Most of the steps you may well already know. They're on another video anyway. But the very first thing you need to do is download the update, download the game if you haven't already got it, or the CD, download the patcher, have them all ready. That is what you need. So first things first, install the game. Install it to your desired destination and your desired specifications. For me, it's always the same. It's always into Drive C, custom, and I take off all this shit. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so that's step one. It's really important that you follow, particularly these first few steps. It's really, really important that you follow them very precise. Okay, step one is done. Very, very straightforward indeed. Step two is you need to have your you need to have the 3.968, the SI Games patch, the official one. This is an absolute must, and this must be done as step two, like so. I know we spoke about it before about renaming your CM if you've got multiple installations. Do not rename it before you've done this step, because this step looks for Championship Manager 0102, and if you've renamed it, it won't find it. So just a little heads up there. Okay, it shouldn't take too long. I mean, the idea of a 3.968 patch was an official patch which tweaked a few flaws in the game. And it also did a data update by a season. It's actually 0203. Okay, that's that done. Step two is done. Step three, okay, we need to get to my downloads for this next bit. Step three is get the April update wherever you've put it, extracted it, and highlight everything in it. Every file, 68 items, copy them and stick them in your CM data folder, replacing all existing ones. Okay. And that's step three. Okay, now step four. Let's go back to downloads, and here we are, the CM 0102 patch 2.29, and here we have it. Okay, so let's just copy this and put it. There's a reason I've already got a version of it, so I'm just starting again. I'll explain why I've put a version of the patch. You don't actually have to do that, okay? But there's a reason I do that, and I'll explain afterwards. Okay, so the patch is in there. That is very, very important. Okay, now at this stage, you may want to rename it if you wish. This isn't a necessity, but what I do is I go to the X, and I just make sure that we are Windows 95 and running as admin. Yes, it is. And then I rename it. Now, at this point, I won't rename it yet, actually. No, scrap that for a minute. I'm going to do that afterwards. I'll explain why. Okay, so let's now go to the patcher. Now, the patcher will automatically look for a Championship Manager 0102. That's why I haven't renamed it yet, because it's going to look for that specifically. And that's, it just dawned on me just as I was about to rename it. Okay, excuse me. So there you are. It's located the exe that we're looking for. You are patching in a executable that has not been patched yet. Would you like us to make some suggestions? You can do, but I'm going to make my own suggestions in a moment. And this is your patcher. These are your main options. There's a few sections, but this is the main one. So we'll start with the main ones first. replace the Welsh Premier League with either North or South. I tend to go North. Swap South Korea, yeah. Show hidden attributes, apply known bugs, yep. And that is everything. I keep the tactics as they are with the update. The last one I'm going to do is this one over here, apply year-specific Misc patches. Now that is going to apply once I change my starting year. You'll see that's going to light up when I get to 20, 22, 21, there you go, the 20s, and there you see. And if I just do that, there you see that's also checked as well. Everything that I want specifically. And I just double check everything, and I will apply. Now it will tell me I haven't made a restore point. Let me explain to you what a restore point is. A save and a restore. You save it, then you make another few changes, and you fuck up, you can restore it. Because as soon as you save over the previous one. The save is very handy for when you are toying with different patches, that sort of stuff, because you can restore them at any point. Very, very important. So there's my save point done, and they are our main CM patches done. It's very, very important because in a minute we're going to get to a stage where it could conflict with some of those main ones, and I will explain what I mean by that. The apply year specific Misc patches. Now, this is going to open up a load of Misc patches that we're going to see. Now, I should point out, before we go to the Misc patches, Nick quite categorically states, only go into it if you know what you're doing. You do it at your own risk. There's no point in saying on the forums or wherever, oh, I keep getting an error, and I keep getting this, and I keep getting that, and it's because you've been into the Misc patches and you don't know what you've clicked. Now, a lot of it is trial and error, and that's where you save and restore really comes in handy. Okay, so that's saved. Now, my next step is, this is personal preference. I do the EEC patcher, and the reason I renamed that 229, I put Mike at the end, so I know I'm on the right CM file folder. And the EEC, remove EEC, done. Referee patcher, I do the same with that. I just make sure I'm in the right one. Yes, I am. There was a thing in Saturn years ago that there was too many red cards, which I actually concurred with at the time. So that's why I changed the referee patcher. And remove stadium limits. That is also done. That's the second section, and I'm going to actually make a save on that. I'm going to apply successfully, and then I'm going to save. Okay, so I know at this point that the game is ready to play if I wish, without any Misc patches, which is why I've done the save. So I'll show you what the next step is once that's done. Depending on the speed processor, it can sometimes do within seconds. It can sometimes take a little bit longer. Okay, the next stage now then. This is the apply a Misc patcher. As I said, and as Nick quite clearly points out, don't ask for support on this. You're on your own. Okay, so these are all your Misc patches. Now, it's very important that you don't just select and apply, because it won't do it. You need to sort of like phase it a little bit. You need to phase it. Now, the first one that I do, because all this, right, all these, they are already merged over here on this the main. You can see it in the background. They're merged in the back. Just so don't think to yourself, oh, colour attributes, I'll check that. Don't do that, because you've already got that on the main set. There's a lot of stuff that don't apply anymore. So the first one, now that one there is already clicked for you. Allow instant squad status bidding reset. You've all done it, haven't you? Where you bid for a player, you've offered him squad rotation because that's what he wants. He then don't want to take terms because he wants to be more important. You've got to wait 2-3 weeks before you can change it. Well, that changes it instantly. Okay, so these, most of them, not all of them, most of them have got an explanation as to what they are. They are specific for one reason or another for me personally. There isn't actually as many, and I'll tell you for the reason is Nick has recently added more to it. Like things like this, attribute masking off by default, second name requirement somewhere, they're already checked, which means saves me having to do it. All these are checked. Enable season ticket money on your first year. I quite like that. Fitness patch. goalie, and network patch. Just going to save it at that point. So network patch. Remember where you've saved your last one. Okay. Just to make sure it is that it is done. There it is. Fixed game. It's all done. Okay. Next thing. Now, let me just tell you something very, very quickly. This one here, replace Northern Ireland with Austria. Now, I did this and I tested it. Tried to start a game in Austria and it crashed. So I didn't bother. I have escalated it just for feedback. So I'm not going to bother on this particular install. Ignore player histories on loan. Now, that's interesting because I tend to always have it checked. It makes that game go a little bit quicker, depending on the speed of your processor, because it won't have to load the histories. But also, it's a clean slate. The only downside of that is when you buy a player, bid for a player, they reject it. If there's no history, it will say, it could well say, they've only recently purchased him, which you think, well, no, they haven't. Let's say you went for Salah. Salah's been at Liverpool for years, but you bid for him, then recently purchased him. It's probably because I've got that checked. Okay. Okay, let's carry on. I don't have any pre-gens. You don't need this because that's already sorted out the promotions Division 3 is to 2 teams. There's not many. There's not many, which, as I said, you know, I used to have a few of these separately. But Nick has eventually incorporated them in here. I quite like that one. Quite like that one. No more players. No foreign restrictions for all. I think it's important to have that. No more work permits. I think it can sometimes give a little bit of an error if someone needed a permit for some reason on a random country, like an island country. Pause on minor injury. I like that. You know, when you get a player that's got a knock, it's not a knock that he's been injured, but it is a knock. And you've got to click on the player to see it. It will now pause on that. Page down. I like the page down. It's when you are forced to continue. There could be a number of reasons why you need that. This one here was actually my own suggestion, as he stated by my forum's name there. This reduces the FA appeal time when you're appealing a ban. Let's just apply them, just to keep ourselves up to date. Okay, we are looking good. Okay, all good, all good. Okay, show any team finances. I like that. Okay. Uncapping of 20. So you can get Haaland. That will showcase a 24-25 finishing. De Bruyne 27-28 passing or what have you. Something like that. Use common names for Brazil regions. Now, I quite like that. I actually quite like that. You've all had it, haven't you? Where you've played a long-term game and the regen of a Brazilian name is blah, 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 blah. It's a long fucking sentence. Well, that's a great patch. I actually had trouble with that on the last version. I tested it and it was fine. So I'm going to have that because I like that. These are already clicked for you, as you can see. So really, really important. Make sure I've not missed any up there. No, I don't bother with the scoreboard patch because I think it's shit. No offence to whoever created it, of course. Okay, so this is all good. Now this is that's actually it. There's one more I want to do. There's one more I want to do, and it's down. You can use a filter when you're looking for stuff, but I know exactly what this is that I'm looking for. And this is that there, loan protection. I like the loan protection. Stop players bidding for players on loan. Stop teams bidding for players on loan. It protects the little clubs when they've got a loan for a year that you can't sort of cut it short. Okay, that is the next step. That is my Misc patches. Next is, these are more Misc patches, but they are a patch file. These are not part of Nick's Misc patches. These are specific to myself. So apply Misc patcher. And if you've got, like, first half, no, I'm not going to put that one in because I was only testing with that first half, no transfers. I was only testing. These are my own specifics. More goals, I'm not going to do that one either. More goals, it bloody works, but they're like ridiculous amount of goals. The score lines are something like sort of 6-6, 8-3. It's fucking like watching Power League. Okay, the first one I'm going to do, my own specifications, AI squad status. That is when you can see a AI player and what his, if his squad rotation, if he's not needed. If he's not needed, you know, you can put a cheeky bid in and they'll probably accept it. Chairman attributes, I don't know if they're already preset, to be honest with chairman attributes, but I quite like them. No club filter, 150 minimum search, we like that. School search 180 minimum. 180 is also the Sedgeford amount, I believe, but the school search is obviously for under 20s. And finally, training facilities now become out of 20. I will show you a couple of those patches once set up. Okay, so I am going to just do that. I don't think you need to do that, in all fairness. I'm pretty sure you don't need to do that. Now, I'm going to make a save in a minute once I know it all works okay. There are other things on here, some of which I'm not 100% sure. Review, except things that you've changed. Things that you've changed on here. Okay, so it's just a log of everything you've done. So it would also log if you've restored as well. History editor, if you want to change the history. Player transfer tool, I have seen that. That's if you want to edit a player straight away. Maybe there's a transfer that was missed on the update that you want to quickly change. Image converter is there. The offset calculator, I make my offsets into patch files in my own way. I don't actually use it. Then there's a scouter, which I'm not familiar with. Okay, so we are ready. But now what we're going to do is we're going to now rename it. So rename it and we'll call it... we'll call it April 2.29. Okay. Now, if you are renaming it... Oh. That's because let me come out of that. If you are renaming it, right, it's really then important. You go back to your properties on your X, because it more than likely will have reset. There is a chance it might not have, but it has. There you go. Just make sure you're running as Windows 95. I always run as Windows 95, even though it says Service Extract free, purely for network games. And remember, I checked that Misc patch. Okay, are you ready? Okay. Let's just go into Windows, shall we? In fact, I'll tell you what, let's stay in full. Right. And it defaults with non-attribute masking. We'll have the national leagues. Okay. Yeah, so I had Austria yesterday on an install, and I thought that's quite interesting. You know, we get rid of the island thing, but it wasn't playing ball unless it was something I weren't doing. Okay, so we'll just start again. These are the non-league National League North. I always choose the North because it's got a second team for Peterborough United in. Let's just, for the argument's sake, just take Arsenal. Okay. So, first things first. Let's just get to any random team. Yeah, so see if we can bid for a player on loan. That's that loan protection thing. So you can't bid for him, which I like. Whilst we're at Burnley, that's the training facilities. So it's out of 20. As well as the word excellent, because you can have excellent or world class, but be 19 out of 20. And we can see their finances as well. If you want to look at other teams' finances, Brentford, 17. Chelsea, 134. Etc. etc. You may have seen I've got my inflation at 2.5. That is what I deem suitable and as close to real life as possible. So, going back onto Man City, let's just look at Man City. Let's look at Nathan Ake. Squad rotation, you can see his squad status. Baptiste, decent youngster. Rodri, and so on and so on and so on. Jack Grealish. You can see Jack Grealish there dribbling 21, but to give you a better look at that, De Bruyne, there you see, ridiculous, insane dribbling, crossing, passing, they're all really high up. But he is actually an attacking midfielder in this update as opposed to left and right. So his crossing ability is almost irrelevant unless you get him to with an arrow moving out wide. Haaland as well, he's got some big figures. You'll find Mbappe has as well, and you'll find Mo Salah has as well. Let's have a look at Mo Salah. He'll have some huge ones. Okay, so that is all those patch of things that I was telling you about. Let's have a look at a couple more. So let's have a look at no club. ordinarily you would get a list of all the players in the game that are at no club. However, this filters out that search to those players that have a PA of 160, I think it is. I think it's PA, I think it's 160. So it minimises them down, saving you filtering through shit. You already know the Sedgeford one. That is a 180. Now, I've got this on a minimum database just for quickness, but David De Gea would pop up. And finally, there are more keywords, as you know. Share them with me, by all means. School, and that minimises them results down as well. All these have a PA of 180. Now, remember, you may see a player pop up on this. So let's take that. Right, okay. So there's that Cameron Spencer. He's appeared on the no club and the school because of his age. So he's clearly got a 180. Now, he won't necessarily be on the school search when you load up a brand new game. I think some players, they are fucking random. They are totally random. Some of them will always appear on here, like Ferguson, for example. Gavi will always be on there because, you know, some of them are just fucking great players. Who else? I do remember that guy, actually, from one of the other updates, I'm pretty sure. Yamel will always be on here. Emre, you know, it goes on and on, really. A quick just reminder here on your tactics. You can disable Wib Wob and load if you wish, but your goalkeeper on your base 4-4-2 and your striker on your 4-3-3 do start Wib Wobbed. Just a quick one for you there. And that is pretty much it. I'm pretty sure that's basically it. Let's just retire and come out of this. So that's all worked absolutely fine. And because that's worked absolutely fine, what I'm going to do, it's not going to find it now because I've renamed it, remember? There you go, couldn't find it because I've renamed it. It's looking for Championship Manager 0102. So what I do is, I'll just go to it manually. That's if you rename it before. There you go. So what I can do at this point is I can save. And it will replace the old one. So I was going to say to you about Nick won't release any more patches. I wouldn't have thought, I could be wrong. Now, I asked a question yesterday about the deduction of points for Everton and Forest. And he said he's not got it on as of yet. Because he used to have it on previous versions. And you'll actually see that. You can actually see that on other versions. So I'll show you where he's got it. Derby County minus 21 points. There's a Sheffield Wednesday in there somewhere as well, I think. There is Sheffield Wednesday. So he did say he would make a separate patch and people could apply it if they wish. So basically, which is exactly what I used to have for human attributes, which I checked over here. I used to have one for that and I'd apply it myself. And so on and so on. Yeah, so he said he'll make a fresh one for the Everton points deduction if somebody wants a challenge. So that's good because it means that you know, you can just basically once you download it, you just apply it and make it. As I said, I'm not familiar with the Save Scouter. Not familiar with the offsets calculator. Image converter, I have dappled with it once or twice. Save changer, I don't even know what that is. I'm not even sure what that is. Right, do you know what, right? I've never seen that before. And it's funny, really, because I knew that this was possible somewhere. I didn't realise it was this. I remember somebody putting a post up about these world-class players that have appeared in the game. And I'm like, yeah, hang on a minute. That doesn't happen. Now I know why. Never knew that. I never knew that. Adjust the key regen stats by 15%. That's interesting. Set contract start dates back a year. I don't know why I do that. You can move a player from a club. That's actually... Oh, and you can do it to a save file as well. That's actually really interesting. I quite like that. Never really paid attention to it. History, player transfer. I thought player transfer tool was exactly what we've... Yeah, so that's just transferring a player. Review, go home. Let's have a look at what that go home tool is. The tool allows you to work around the bug whereby international players... Oh, right, okay. That wouldn't really happen anymore. I don't think that really happened. Do you know what? I'd read about this, but I never knew it. Okay, it's handy. It's very, very handy. Indeed. And that is it, guys. That is Nix Patcher 2.29 in conjunction with the April 2024 update. I think it's fair to say, I've said it before, about the work that goes in from the updaters, the work that goes in from people that do interactive stuff, and, you know, Nick is part of that. You know, without these guys, people like Nick, people like Cam, people like the update guys, I think it's Coys and Steve Harl, and a few others, but there's about half a dozen. People like Spectral on the forums, who does some work on the CML. Mark, the chairman, you know, Redders does a lot. Eben does the social media, I believe. Derm and Redknapp, they certainly do a lot. There's people that are always, is it Here to Win? I always see him knocking about. The John Betts starter kit. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the starter kit. I prefer to have a proper installation. But I think it's a magnificent tool because it is what it says on the tin. It's a starter kit. Some people are not computer savvy. The starter kit makes it easy, makes it straightforward. And that's it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got any questions, fire them at me. I will try and answer them. Until next time, take it easy.